hello. I'm Jazmin Kylene, and welcome to another episode of From Soul to Song. Today we're joined by an exceptional R&B and Afro-Soul singer and songwriter all the way from Kenya. She's collaborated with talents like Tiana Taylor and Burna Boy, and recently unveiled her debut album, Love/Hate Part 1. Welcome, Xenia. How are you?
I'm good, thank you. How are you?
I'm so excited because we were just talking a little bit about how you are calling in from Kenya, but you also just kind of made the decision to move and start a new chapter in LA. And so I'd love to know, like, sort of integrating your new life and your new relationship with music into this, like, new space that I think relates to music very differently. How was that change for you? Was there any sort of, like, cultural shock?
No, wasn't any cultural shock. I mean, I've technically kind of lived in the States now. I guess if I add it all together, maybe like 6 years. So, because
Got you.
I went to uni in Boston, and then I moved to ATL for a little bit, and then when I finally came back to the US last year, I stayed for like 6 months, and then I just got back to Nairobi last week from being there for another like 6 months.
Right. So
No,
you're
no.
just like a nomad, honey.
Yeah, always been.
And what I think when you're sort of always sort of redefining what home is for you physically, how do you define what home is for you emotionally?
Um, I think because of all the movement, now that I'm older, I'm realizing all the movement, even the unintentional slash intentional, but unintentional movement has always made me figure out how to create my own space everywhere I go so that I always feel safe. And so I now look forward because it's more conscious. Now I look forward to going to new places because now I've seen time and time again that I'm able to create a safe space for myself. And I enjoy my own company. Like I spend a lot of time by myself. And I love just going places. So it's now just like I can go anywhere, and I know that I can make a space that's good for Z, you know.
Yeah. Oh, beautiful. A space that's good for Z. I love that. And I think it's so cool because not a lot of people take that time to sort of like nourish their relationship with themselves so that they can be their own source and sense of home. And so I'd love to know, like, when it's just you and Xenia, like, how do you nourish that self-care? What does that look like for you?
Wow, I love doing so many things. So whether
Same,
it's
girl.
whether it's like making music or just like sitting down, just like in stillness, like I like meditating. I like watching movies. Like I haven't had the chance to do it because I've been so busy recently in the last few months, but like I can spend the whole day just watching movie from movie to movie to movie, stuff like that. I'm also like super spontaneous and adventurous, so like I will take a drive with somebody, to somewhere that I haven't been before. I love being in nature. I love a lot. So there's a lot of things that make me happy and that fulfill me. But even just silence alone, just getting like after a busy day, just like getting like an hour to just sit down and not even do anything. Peace.
There's nothing like doing nothing, girl. Nothing like it.
Yeah.
I get you, and I think it's beautiful because I think that relationship and that well intention with your mental health and your spiritual health really exudes through your work and through how you speak about your work. And I remember I was like reading some of your captions and like witnessing you reflect on this project, which is so personal to you. And I feel like it's just so evident that you're someone who really takes that time to be self reflective and to really kind of like look at the journey and to really take bits of the lessons that you've learned and apply it.
Mhm.
And I think that this project really is like a result of that. And so before I even get into that, I remember you mentioning something about like rejection being redirection. I'd love to know, that mindset that you've cultivated, that awareness of it's happening for me, not to me. How did you come to that?
I think it's really just from taking a step back and always being conscious about like thinking about the bigger picture because it's very easy to get lost in the like minute details, especially when you have expectations. that you've set for yourself or expectations from other people that you're trying to meet. And it's like you just can't put that pressure on yourself, because if you just trust in the way that things are going, knowing that you're doing the work, there's no need to put all that pressure on yourself, because the things that happen will actually even be things that surprise you or like are beyond the expectations that you may have had for yourself. And I think just seeing that, like in life in general, not even just the album, just seeing that as I look back on my life, because now because it's like so in my head, like I'm constantly thinking about um, my life and what's happened in the past and like my experiences, and just seeing how like certain things come together, like literally even realizing, like how they also say, like in order for you to receive you have to let go, and sometimes like even recognizing the times when like I didn't intentionally let go or didn't want to let go and something was just taken away, and then I think, okay, but what happened next? And like it's just so clear, um, that we just need to like continue letting go of control, like, and just like trust in the flow of things. And that's where you actually find a lot of like joy and like gratitude. Yeah. That's, yeah.
Mm. Yeah, and those are really like the themes of the project. And I think it's so beautiful because like letting go of control is a lesson I feel like I have to constantly learn over and over again. And I feel like every time I get it and I'm good at it, there's something else that I get attached to, and I feel like it's really a good lesson to continue coming home to. And I think that you're the product of someone who's really surrendered into trusting. And now you've birthed and released a project that is just such a beautiful embodiment of that journey. And I'd love to know because I know that you sort of like went back and you stayed in your childhood like room, and it was a
Mhm.
big healing part of how you like kind of came to. I'd love to know what that process was like for you.
It's funny because now that I came back home, because I don't have a home here anymore, I'm back in that house again, and my room is still the same. So I've just been like, oh, I need equipment because I need to, I need to make some new music because I always have something to say. But that, I think I didn't even realize um, I don't know what the word I'm looking for is, but I'm gonna say I didn't realize how special it all was until this year when we were now doing like the visuals for, say, Anticipate and Love Hate, and I just realized, oh my God, like I wrote these songs here and we're shooting the videos here. Like it's all come back to the same place, like a place that I started creating music in. Like it's a complete safe space. Like now I'm not even surprised by what I put out, because like obviously obviously I was able to just do this in this space and like be with myself, and I guess whatever remnants of my past self are also there, you know. So
Right, of course. And I
yeah.
think, especially being in that space again, do you connect at all with your inner child? How do you think your inner child feels about your life right now?
I'm like, that girl is very proud. That girl has to be proud. I know I have to be making that girl proud because she didn't even really commit to music, but she always loved music. I know she's happy. I know she's happy.
And that's all that matters. As long as you're making your inner child happy and proud, that is like the only person I'm like interested in impressing. So I think that that's beautiful
Hmm.
sentiment for sure.
Hmm.
And growing up in Nairobi and sort of representing um, Kenya and the way that you show up as an artist, what are there any misconceptions that you think the rest of the world has about your culture that you kind of want to embody the breaking of, or how is that for you?
Hmm, that's an interesting question. Um, when I think about the misconceptions that people have about here, they're more, I mean, it's just because people don't know, you know. It's like learning to have grace with people. Like, obviously, there's times when it's like, okay, this is like information that you could look up, but also having grace with people because they just haven't been exposed to it and they really just have to see for themselves. But I feel like I definitely represent, um, wow, bold statement. True, though. I definitely represent. a Kenya that can do anything, like that can't be known for just one thing. It's just like running or whatever. It's like I'm one representation of like this is something that can come out of this place. And there's so much more of it here that I know people will be exposed to over time.
Oh, that's so beautiful. And I like watched yourself like give yourself permission to like boldly say
I
that
was
because it is so and you're like, can I say that? Be like, hell yeah, I can, because it's
like,
true. It really, really is. And I noticed that because I was like, for instance, I was watching like the VMAs the other day, and they like for the first time have like an Afrobeat category, and it was really cool to see that because of how significant Afrobeat has been. I mean, all the way back to Fela Kuti, but like now it's mainstreaming.
yeah,
Um, which took its time, but I'm so eager to see like the entire diaspora and more representation of all the iterations of the music that's coming out of Africa, because it's not just Afrobeat. Like, we've got R&B artists like you that are coming out of there too, and so I think it's really cool that you are standing in the knowing of the fact that you're part of that change.
that was a
Totally.
great
And are
question.
there any art? Oh, go ahead. Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you
I
off.
said that was a great question because I actually haven't answered that before. So you've also just made me realize and put it in a sentence.
Totally, yeah. I think you're doing an incredible job at really, yeah, embodying that change and that awareness. And I'd love to know, when you were kind of growing up and being in love with music, like you said, your inner child was, who were the artists that you were kind of witnessing that gave you that light and that drive?
DRE, Lauren Hill, Erica Badu, um, Brandy, Brandy.
Randy, Randy
Um,
girl.
and then like they just like increased over time. Of course, like I listened to so much music growing up. I've always listened to a lot of music. So there's so many. Sometimes I'm like, I don't even know if I can name all these people, but I'll name the people who I know. Like if you play their album, I'll sing it down.
Mm,
I
yes.
just
Totally. And were there artists? Because I feel like I can hear seeds of their influence in your work. Were there artists that are like outside of R&B, or from that realm at all, that you also really were like passionate by?
um, there's s- there's like the Kenyan artists as well. Like growing up, we have so many. I feel like all of this like came together to influence my sound. But I can name artists like Nameless or Issa or even people like Amani who were making like early Kenyan R&B like 2000, and like if they're booked on a lineup right now, it's packed. It's packed just to sing the songs that they made like 20 years ago. It's crazy the influence that they've had on us. Music from South Africa, Brenda Fassie, West Africa. My mom always listened to like Salif Keita, like Yusundur. Like there's so many that I can think of, and I'm like, I know all of this had an effect on what I create now, for sure.
Oh my gosh, that's so rich. That's so beautiful. And yeah, what you make, I mean, especially like Love Hate Part 1 is just so, it's very, very honest. And honestly, I got immediately emotional just because like the intro in itself like is just so, oh my god, it feels like you're being prayed over. And I'm sure to feature your family member like that was so, I mean, I just love to know how that song came about and how it felt for you to feature your grandfather like that.
That one was the most random, unexpected one, um, but it was awesome. He just sent me him singing, like maybe I don't even. I keep saying we were like 2 weeks to submitting the album. I really think we were about like 3 weeks to submitting the final album for like mixing and mastering, or maybe we were already in the process of mixing, even like very close to the end of it all. And we communicate by sending each other music, but he's never actually sent me him singing um, something that he wanted me to sing before. And this is the first time that he did it, and I was like, haha, he did it. Good job.
You get it on the
Good
album,
job.
yeah.
Yeah, I was emotional. Like I was sitting in the booth just like, oh my goodness, I can't believe I'm even recording this. Like this is crazy. Because I knew that also after the studio session that it was really, really done. Like now we finally have like the complete body of work that's ready to now send off, and then after that it's the full release and surrender, and then now it just finds its space in the world. So that was awesome.
Mm.
That was awesome. And also like part of the stuff that I mentioned, like my musical influences, a lot of that stuff was stuff that he played growing up because I've lived in that house for the longest time. So that was great. It was great. Just another
Wow.
full circle.
Yeah. Totally, and you can feel it. Like it feels so powerful, and it really does feel like it's the like your ancestors feel like they're part of that track. Like this is really like the meeting of generations, and
Yeah.
like
Wow.
the glue being this like passion for art and
Ooh.
music and how it yeah it's beautiful. I felt it like as I was listening to it. I was like, this is so I had goosebumps immediately, and I think, but the whole project really is so raw, and I'd love to know, as someone who really put their journey and their heart and their soul into it, are there any specific songs that feel particularly raw that you were like nervous about being vulnerable and sending into the world, or how do you feel about kind of the world seeing you in this way?
I don't think I was nervous about any of that going into the world because I think once I committed to actually writing the music, I had already released it from me. Um, yeah, actually, no, I wasn't nervous about any of the songs going out into the world. Um, and I'm also thinking about it now. I'm like, I mean, unfortunately, or unfortunately for the people that I date, I'm sure that they can pinpoint which songs are about them and which ones
I love
aren't. Because I can't help it. It's like it's like revealing what it is on for me without revealing too much at the same time. Yeah.
Hey, I love that. Because I think it still keeps it sacred, but I think you're also like letting people know, like, hey, I'm gonna write about you. Like, you were significant enough to where I
Humor.
have something to say.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's beautiful, and I think it's so interesting because you just it doesn't surprise me at all that you're like, no, it's out there because you just seem like someone who's very like rooted and sure of themselves, and not just because they were kind of born into that knowing, but like you earned it, like you earned your awareness of the space you deserve to take up. Um, and I'd love to know if any of that has to do with the fact that like you studied like the business within music and you understand like the structure that comes with really like being an artist in a way that's like marketable and profitable. Did that affect your artistry at all?
Wow. That's a great question. I've never even thought about the influence that studying music business had on this because I feel like they've just been happening simultaneously, like parallel, but at the same time. Obviously, at the same time, they're
Of course,
parallel.
yeah.
But no, I think the still developing sense of self awareness is or has come from the releasing of the music and like the actual like sitting with myself and talking about how I feel because when I look at it on paper, I'm like, okay, like there's something that I need to do about this. And wanting to also see more positive stories, like wanting to see myself talk about more fruitful things or to see growth in my writing, which I see now. I'm really happy, like listening to this album because it's really the first body of work that I worked on. But there's so many things that I worked on after that that have come out before it, and when I look at it, like if I listen to it in the order in which I wrote it, I see the actual growth in my state of mind and in how much more sure I am in myself and like my decisions and my ability to like take a step back or like say no, which
Mm.
like in this album like I wasn't able to say no a lot of times. Like I knew I needed to say no, but I just couldn't because I felt like not having a person or not having the relationship was going to just be like chaotic, like just the absence of the external. validation was just going to send me into total chaos. And I've learned that I have everything that I need now, so I can see it. And yeah, but I'm gonna think about that. I think the business side, though, I'm happy that I learned it, but I feel like I'm still also learning that along the way because I'm still an independent artist, but I'm also very, very hands on. Like, I like to be involved in every single thing. I feel like you can't help it. Um, and so that's also just like a process on its own, though I think that one is like more gradual. But I've definitely learned a lot now. And I also kind of don't know because sometimes I'm like, that like there's all these ideas of how things are supposed to look and feel. And I'm just like, I just want to be me, like whatever that looks like. But I know it has to make sense, like marketing wise sometimes and stuff like that. But I'm like, but it's just me. Like, I'm not really trying to like sell myself. I'm just trying to be myself. And whoever gravitates towards that, like, I'm grateful because I'm just here being me.
I know. I feel like we all struggle, like, in whatever avenue we're navigating, it really is like that. I always say it's like the battle of like the inner child and the adult. Of like the inner child kind of wants to play and create and just be, and like whatever comes of that comes of that, and the adult is like, okay, but we need to put structure and schedule and discipline and regimen to it. So,
Mhm.
I think I see that duality in you really beautifully of like the artist, but also like the boss bitch who knows how to make sure she gets what she deserves, you know? So I think it's well done. And this is a question that I ask everyone every time we do these because I'm just always so curious. But what do you think is like the best love song of all time?
I don't know why Colors by Alex Isley was the first thing that came to mind.
Oh, that's beautiful. Yeah.
That and oh my gosh, somebody's calling me again. Oh my god, wait, no, I need to end the call so it doesn't ring on this other side. Okay, I got it. I got it
So
right.
we're wrapping up
Um,
now.
yeah, Colors by Alex Isley came to mind first, but also I just couldn't remember the name of the Brandy song. I was just listening to it the other day. It's on Full Moon.
Mm,
Oh my god, let me just check.
mm. I know
But
Full Moon itself isn't a love song, but like it kind of is, and it's so good.
it's
Like
good.
it's one of my favorite songs of all time.
It's really great. I can listen to that album all day, every day. It doesn't matter. I'm thinking so many things now. And now you said one, and now I'm like, ooh, now they're all coming to me. I'm like, NDRE, The Truth by NDRE. Oh my God. Amazing song.
Beautiful. Yes.
Um,
I know I was listening to Ready to Love yesterday and I was like, oh my God. Yeah.
oh my God. That's another one. Like, ooh, I just
That's
made
a
a
prayer.
playlist called
Yeah.
Redirection. Yeah.
Oh, I
It's
love that. Oh, look at you.
It's called Come a Little Closer by Brandy. Oh my God. I was listening to it and I was like, have I ever paid attention to this song ever? I think it was the first time I was reading it with the
Mm,
lyrics. You know, like you listen to an album so many times, you know the songs. But then I was actually like looking at the lyrics and I was like, I've been singing this and I didn't even know. This is crazy.
yes.
Yeah. I think I even
I
posted and I
love
was like,
when
I
that
want to write a
happens.
song about somebody like this. Like I want to feel like this. I know I have, but I want to feel like this and write like this. Okay. So those are three.
Totally. Yeah. I think like the songs we were like obsessed with that we sang to when we were kids, like it also just changes context when you live through love and you live through heartbreak and like the experience is now in your body. And you're like,
Yep.
oh, I know what she's saying now, you know? So I
Mm-hmm.
think that that's,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, it's so cool that you are kind of also having that experience. But beautiful. You gave us a couple answers. They're all valid. I appreciate that. And with that being said, thank you so much, Xenia, for sharing your heart, your soul with us and with the collective through your music. Are there any last things that you want to say about the project or just you in general?
um, it's out there in the world now forever. It's gone. So I hope it continues to just find more and more space in the world. I'm grateful for everybody that's listening, and like sending me messages. Everybody's so sweet. It's so like crazy to know that the way music has impacted me is the way like my music seems to be impacting other people. Like that is so amazing. So, it's just love, all love always for me.